We now have a fair idea of what supervised and unsupervised learning are and how they are different from each other. Now, reinforcement learning is a little bit different from both of these approaches. We will understand what reinforcement learning is and the intuition behind them we will clearly understand in this one. Now, the main difference between both supervised as well as unsupervised learning is in reinforcement learning, we have no idea of what the X is. We basically don't have a data in reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning in turn is going to be the generator of the data and it will learn while it is learning and exploring the environment. We will see more about that. But the fundamental difference is in supervised learning, we go from X to Y. Given an X, we map it to an output Y. That is supervised learning. In unsupervised learning, there is X, but we don't try to map it to a Y. We don't have a Y basically, and we just try to simplify X or do certain groupings of X or something similar to that. Right? There is no mapping process of mapping X to a different Y. Y does not exist. That is unsupervised learning. In reinforcement learning, like I said, there is no X at all. The process of the X itself will be discovered during the learning process. We will see how that works. Now, what is reinforcement learning? It is also a type of machine learning algorithm. It is also a type of algorithm, rather. It's a different form of machine learning algorithm, to say the least. Right? This is an algorithm trains agents that trains agents on what action or decision to take so as to maximize some sort of a reward in an uncertain environment. So basically, what we are doing is we don't have a training data in the first place. To make up for that training data, we are going to do certain experiments. That is, we are going to be training agents to see what sort of an outcome each of those iterations is going to yield. Right? So we train agents on what sort of action or decision to make, and that will be decided based on which action or decision is going to maximize some sort of a reward. This is how reinforcement learning generally works. Now, the rules that determine the actions that should be taken is called the policy. This learning the policy is the actual objective of reinforcement learning itself. Basically, a policy is nothing but rules, and based on these rules, the agent will know what sort of action to take in various different situations. So, objective is to learn the policy that is going to maximize some reward that the user defines. Now, this learning is an iterative process. You keep doing a lot of iterations, try out a lot of experiments, so you know what is the outcome of that experiment, each of those iterations basically, so as to explore that environment. And in that process, the AI agent learns the policy itself. Now, there's a lot of different real world examples that use reinforcement learning. It's finding a lot of use cases. Obviously, the hardware related use cases are very common. Self navigating robots and AI playing computer games, self driving cars, these are very popular use cases that have found use in real world today. Now, in addition to that, besides these hardware use cases, reinforcement learning can be used to make intelligent decisions also, like dynamic pricing for cab operators. Basically, you can use it to set the fares at optimal prices. Likewise, targeting customers to maximize conversion. It will help you to targeting the right customers with the right offers so as to maximize the conversion or making a sale. These are some solid examples of how reinforcement learning has found success in today's business environment. Now, let's summarize the difference between reinforcement learning and unsupervised and supervised learning. The objective of reinforcement learning is to choose the best actions, basically to learn the policy itself. Whereas in supervised and unsupervised, the objective is to either predict or classify or group, typically, right? Or something like that. In reinforcement learning, the environment is unknown. That is, we don't have the data beforehand. Whereas in supervised and unsupervised, we know the environment. We have the data, so we know what to expect out of the data. Whereas in reinforcement learning, the process of training means you are going to be exploring the environment, basically experiment, iterate, and try to understand your environment of what is going to be the outcome in various different cases. Whereas in supervised and unsupervised traditional method, the training means you want to learn some sort of a pattern in data. In reinforcement learning, the final objective again is to find the best policy, whereas in supervised and unsupervised, it's going to be finding the best model. I hope this gives you a fair idea of what the intuition is behind reinforcement learning.